In further company developments, Curro Holdings has seen a 14.6% rise in revenue. Earnings before taxation, depreciation and amortisation, also known as EBITDA, have increased by 24.7%. A final gross dividend of 14.64 cents per share has also been declared. That's from income reserves for the year ending in December. CEO Cobus Loubser speaks to us now about this performance. Thank you so much for your time, Cobus. Impressive, I must say, but to what extent has the shrinking household expenditure due to the rising cost of living in South Africa had an impact on the group, if at all?
Yeah, I think, if you think about Curro, our mission, our ambition is to expand educational opportunity across South Africa, and in our corridors, every child matters, and so parents make great sacrifices to afford their children the best possible opportunity, and it's incumbent on us to deliver on that promise of high quality, of innovation, and of holistic education opportunities. So it is tough out there. The last 2 years have seen real increases in interest rates, have seen doubling of the fuel cost, have seen pressure on consumers from energy and food. And it's been a challenge. And I think if you look at our numbers and if you consider the extent to which we were able to still increase our learner numbers by 2%, it demonstrates the extent to which parents are still trusting Curro with their children and with the high quality education we provide. So all in all, then, in this environment, I think we've demonstrated resilience. I think we have demonstrated the ability to deliver value to learners, to their parents, and to our shareholders with that 32% increase in our recurring headline earnings and a similar increase in our dividend.
And of course, the Curro model is that of affordable education in the country. And what we saw with the COVID-19 period was the group itself making sure that parents are still able to meet their financial obligations by not increasing fees. Is that still on the cards with regards to the rising cost of living in South Africa, where maybe your clientele would be looking for a little bit of a breather?
Yeah, I think we take cognizance of that. I mean, if we consider in 2023, we increased fees on average by about 8%, and going into 2024, our fees will increase by about 7% or just below that. So I think we've recognized that. I think if we consider, though, that the level of bad debt in our operations have reduced steadily over the last 3 years, it's clear that parents are sacrificing on other aspects to give their children the best possible education. So I think in that kind of context, we certainly see that younger families, and particularly our lower grades, the early pre-primaries and early kind of primary school grades, which are so important for the academic kind of basis of young learners and for their future academic success. We see that parents are struggling to stay in that kind of process with us, perhaps, or to join our operations, and we look forward to a bit of respite from interest rates so that they can get back in and so that we can kind of offer the high quality and innovative product that we do to them.
Where then are you seeing entities that are best performing, given that it's a wide range of offering within the Curro Holdings group of schools, as well as the higher education space that also has an element of online learning?
Well, I think we certainly have done a lot to innovate in terms of digital. We've done a lot of work around robotics and coding and artificial intelligence, but also the broader holistic execution of sports and culture. So our campuses are busier than ever before, and is dynamic, and we're looking to develop the versatile learners that are curious, creative, and can communicate and can take on a future that is perhaps uncertain, but one which they will be ready for. So I think we're working very hard in that regard.
On the back of that, Curro is known for expansion. What lies ahead in its plans in this regard?
Well, I think it's 2023 is a very important year because for the first time in our history, in 25 years, we've generated more cash from our operations than what we invested in Capex back into it. So to give you a perspective, we invested we generated 875 million rand of operating cash and invested 715 million rand back in the business. And for 2024, we expect to incur a similar level of Capex of about 700 million rand. And of that number, about 400 million is allocated to maintaining, refurbishing, and replacing existing assets. So we've really reached an important milestone, a moment where our business model is generating more cash than what we need to expand. And I think that bodes really well for shareholders in the future in terms of both dividend, share buybacks, or executing other attractive opportunities.
Huge milestones indeed. And as a parting shot, I must ask you about how the group basically deals with criticism, with the negative media and PR that you've received based on incidents that are of a racial nature that keep occurring ever since Curro was established in South Africa.
I think the first thing to say is that we have no tolerance for racism or bullying or discrimination of any sorts, and we take decisive action in terms of our policies and processes against that kind of behaviour. But it is perhaps worth reflecting that South Africa is a complex place. We have a large operation that's distributed around the country, many employees, many learners, and all the isms, all the challenges of our society does not stay kind of outside our gates when people enter our properties and our corridors. So it's an ongoing, I think, mission for us to drive this message of inclusivity and of community and doing so responsibly. I think there are isolated instances of events which certainly does not describe and translate to the whole of Curro.
Curro Holdings CEO Cobus Loubser speaking to us about their financial results and incidents related to that group. And that's how we wrap up on the business desk, at least for now. Let's take a closer look at how markets are performing. Unfortunately, it's not as good of news as we received in the minute expansion of GDP.